Hey, welcome to the Nika Said podcast. And if you're new here, I'm Nika Williams, a planner girl, mom to an 8-year-old husband, and a die-hard Atlanta Falcons fan. At the end of 2016, I was happily fired from Amazon, which jumped off this online journey. After signing 2 clients within 10 days and booking out my services as a virtual assistant, I was thrown as the Facebook queen and Coach Nika was born. All that to say, I'm a virtual assistant and a VA coach helping women realize they don't have to choose between work and their family. You can have both. And if you're looking for financial freedom while also having family focus, this is the podcast for you. You'll learn how to grow a business that fits into your personal life and not the other way around. Welcome back to another episode of the Nika Said podcast. And in today's episode, we'll be talking about how to reset expectations and set boundaries with your clients. Setting boundaries can be a challenging task, especially if you're not used to doing it. It can be uncomfortable and even thought as confrontational, but it is an essential step to creating a healthy working relationship with your clients. So let's dive into some tips on how to reset the expectations and set boundaries effectively. So tip number 1, you need to define your boundaries. It's so crucial to know what your boundaries are before you can even communicate them to others. Take some time to reflect on what's important to you, what your limits are, and what you're willing to tolerate. For example, if you're a busy virtual assistant, you might need to set boundaries around work hours and your after-work commitments. Tip 2, communicate your boundaries clearly. Once you define your boundaries, communicate them clearly to your clients. You can do this in a variety of ways, depending on the situation. I like to do this on sales calls, in my contract, and on my onboarding welcome packet. For example, if a client keeps emailing you after work hours, you might say, I appreciate you sending me this. Let's discuss this during work hours tomorrow. Tip number 3, enforce your boundaries. It's one thing to communicate your boundaries, but it's another thing to enforce them. And so many virtual assistants and just people in general struggle with this. If someone violates your boundaries, you need to take the action to enforce them. This might mean saying no to a request that goes beyond your boundaries or having a difficult conversation with someone who's not respecting your limits. Tip number 4, be flexible. So I don't want to come off and just say we're just so rigid in our business that things don't come up and we don't help the clients outside of things that are in our contract. But while this is essential to set boundaries, it's also important to be flexible when needed. Sometimes unexpected circumstances come up and you might need to adjust your boundaries temporarily. Be open to these changes, but make sure to communicate them clearly. Tip number 5 is practice self-care. Finally, it's so essential to practice self-care when you're setting boundaries because setting boundaries can be stressful. I'm going to just be honest with you. And it's important to take care of yourself during their process. This might mean taking breaks when needed, seeking support from your friends, or engaging in activities that help you recharge. So all in all, resetting expectations and setting boundaries is such an essential part of creating healthy relationships with your clients. And you need to do this by defining your boundaries, communicating them clearly, enforcing them, and being flexible. And last, go ahead and practice self-care so you can set yourself up for success in your business. Which one do you need to start implementing today? And do you need support around this? If so, go ahead and send me a DM on Instagram at Coach Nika to get the details on how to work with me one-on-one, where we discuss how you can convert leads right in your inbox so you spend less time on calls while signing client after client. And this is also for you if you haven't signed a client in the last 30 days. But hurry, there's only a few spots available, so I want to really invest in my clients that I have on my roster. But like I said, go ahead and send me a DM if you want more information about that. And I will talk to you in another one. Thank you so much for joining me today. And make sure you check back next week for another amazing episode with actionable tips to grow your online business. In the meantime, leave a review and let me know your thoughts on today's episode. And if you want to see what I'm up to, check out my Instagram page at Coach Nika. Come hang out with other women on the same journey in the private free Facebook group, the Virtual Assistant Club. And remember, every day you're one step closer to the dream life you want. Keep going, girlfriend.